The air in the congressional hearing room hung heavy, thick with the unspoken tension of a brewing storm. Every eye was fixed on the two figures at the center of the arena, Jasmine Crockett, her posture radiating an unwavering resolve, and Ken Paxton, Texas's Attorney General, whose casual smirk seemed to mock the very notion of accountability. This wasn't merely a legislative session, it was a crucible, a moment destined to forge a legend. The whispers of political intrigue, the hushed anticipation of a clash long overdue, all converged here, in this charged space where power met principle. News headlines, flashing across the collective consciousness, had already painted the stage: Crockett versus Paxton, a battle for the soul of Texas, a showdown that promised to reverberate far beyond the Lone Star State. A gavel's sharp crack, a final, echoing punctuation, then silence, pregnant with the weight of history about to unfold. The stage was set for a drama that would redefine courage. He was a titan, a political force who had navigated countless storms, his career a testament to his unyielding will and strategic cunning. Ken Paxton, the embodiment of a certain brand of Texas power, had built an empire on legal maneuvers and political brinkmanship. His name was synonymous with controversy, yet he remained, seemingly, untouchable. Across the aisle, a different kind of power was rising. Jasmine Crockett, a freshman congresswoman, carried the hopes of a new generation, her voice a beacon for those long marginalized. She was a lawyer, yes, but more than that, she was a fighter, armed with intellect and an unshakable belief in justice. Their paths, divergent yet destined, had been hurtling towards this inevitable collision. Their ideologies, diametrically opposed, had fueled a quiet animosity, a simmering tension that now threatened to erupt. This wasn't just a political disagreement, it was a clash of worlds, a battle for the very definition of right and wrong. The hearing commenced, a seemingly ordinary proceeding, yet beneath the surface, a dangerous game was being played. Paxton, with an almost theatrical condescension, began his testimony, his words laced with a dismissive arrogance. Crockett, ever the meticulous advocate, sought to interject, to challenge, to illuminate. But each attempt was met with a swift, calculated cut-off. Paxton's interruptions, at first subtle, grew progressively bolder, more aggressive, a deliberate attempt to assert dominance, to silence the inconvenient truth. The camera, a silent witness, lingered on Crockett's face, capturing the subtle shifts, a flicker of surprise, then a tightening of the jaw, a slow burn of righteous indignation. The air in the room grew heavy, charged with the unspoken outrage of those who recognized the tactic, who had felt the sting of such dismissiveness themselves. With each interruption, Paxton believed he was winning, chipping away at her resolve, asserting his authority. He couldn't have been more wrong. He was, in fact, fueling a fire, stoking a resolve that would soon unleash a force he was utterly unprepared for. He was pushing her, unknowingly, towards a precipice, a moment of reckoning that would be defined not by his bluster, but by her unwavering command of the law. He was setting the stage for his own undoing, for a single, powerful legal citation that would silence him, and electrify a nation. The fuse was lit, the countdown had begun. What he saw as a weakness, she was forging into her greatest strength. The stage was set for the 10th. This was not just a debate, it was a declaration. This was not just a moment, it was a movement waiting to ignite. The world watched, unaware of the seismic shift about to occur. Every hero's journey begins long before the spotlight finds them, forged in the quiet fires of conviction and resilience. For Jasmine Crockett, her narrative wasn't born in the marble halls of Congress, but in the vibrant, often challenging, landscapes of Texas. Her roots were deeply embedded in communities that understood struggle, that knew the sting of systemic injustice firsthand. From her earliest days, she bore witness to the stark disparities that fractured society, the invisible walls that held back dreams, particularly for those who looked like her, who shared her heritage. It wasn't a passive observation, it was a visceral experience that ignited a profound sense of purpose within her. She saw the mechanisms of power, often wielded against the vulnerable, and a quiet, unyielding resolve began to take root. This wasn't just about personal ambition, it was about a calling, a deep-seated belief that true change demanded more than just empathy, it demanded action, a relentless pursuit of justice that would challenge the very foundations of inequality. She understood, with a clarity beyond her years, that she had to be an architect of that solution, a voice for the unheard, a champion for the unseen. Her path was not chosen lightly, it was a destiny embraced, shaped by the very injustices she vowed to dismantle. Her intellectual prowess, a sharp and incisive mind, found its natural home in the rigorous demands of legal education. Law school was not merely a series of lectures and textbooks, it was a crucible where her convictions were tempered, her analytical skills honed to a razor's edge. She devoured statutes, dissected precedents, and engaged in debates that stretched late into the night, each intellectual skirmish sharpening her understanding of the intricate dance between law and justice. The moment she passed the bar wasn't just a personal achievement, it was the acquisition of a formidable weapon, a tool she would wield in the service of others. Her early career was a testament to this unwavering commitment. She didn't seek the glamour of corporate law, instead, she gravitated towards the front lines, representing the underserved, fighting for civil rights, taking on cases that many others deemed too complex, too politically charged, or simply not lucrative enough. She was a legal warrior, meticulously building her arsenal of knowledge, understanding that every brief, every argument, every courtroom battle was a step towards a more equitable world. This wasn't just a profession, it was a sacred trust, a relentless pursuit of fairness for those who had been denied it. She was forging her sword, not for personal glory, but for the collective liberation. The transition from the hallowed, often contentious, grounds of the courtroom to the sprawling, equally contentious, landscape of Congress was not a leap of faith, but a logical progression. She carried with her the same unyielding tenacity, the same meticulous attention to detail that had defined her legal career. The burning desire to fight for what was right, to challenge entrenched power structures, remained her guiding star. Her initial political campaigns were a masterclass in grassroots organizing, a testament to her connection with the people she sought to represent. She walked the neighborhoods, knocked on doors, and spoke to small community groups, her message resonating with those who felt unseen, unheard. Her victories, hard-won and celebrated, were not just personal triumphs but a collective affirmation of a new political awakening. Arriving in Washington, she was a new face in an old institution, but she carried with her a clear, unwavering vision. The political arena, she quickly learned, was a different kind of battlefield, one where the rules were often unwritten, the alliances fluid, and the stakes astronomically high. Yet, she remained undaunted, understanding that true change often requires confronting discomfort, challenging the very status quo that seeks to maintain its grip. She had not come to Washington to merely occupy a seat, she had come to disrupt, to dismantle, to build anew. The political climate in Texas, a powder keg of ideological friction, was already simmering, and Ken Paxton, with his aggressive legal strategies and controversial stances, often served as the match. News clips and social media posts painted a vivid picture of escalating tensions, particularly concerning voting rights and the contentious process of redistricting. Paxton's public statements and actions, often designed to inflame and divide, fueled the conflict, setting an ominous stage. Jasmine Crockett, ever vigilant, watched these developments with a growing sense of urgency, her legal mind already anticipating the inevitable clash. She understood that a confrontation was not just possible, but a necessary crucible for justice. The air was thick with anticipation, a silent countdown to the moment when these two opposing forces would finally collide. This wasn't just a personal rivalry, it was a microcosm of the larger ideological battle playing out across the nation, a struggle for the very soul of democracy. Crockett, representing a new guard, was poised to challenge the established order, and Paxton, the embodiment of that order, was about to meet his most formidable opponent yet. The stage was set, the players were in position, and the curtain was about to rise on a drama that would expose the raw nerves of power and principle. Her journey, steeped in resilience and purpose, had led her to this very moment, ready to face the storm head-on. While Jasmine Crockett meticulously built her foundation on the bedrock of justice and advocacy, a different kind of edifice was rising across the political landscape, Ken Paxton's empire of power. His ascent was not a quiet climb but a calculated, often aggressive, marched through the ranks of Texas politics. From his earliest days, Paxton distinguished himself not just by his staunch conservative ideology, but by a strategic willingness to push legal boundaries, to bend the rules to his will, and to relentlessly pursue his political ambitions. The Texas state capitol, a symbol of democratic governance, became, in his hands, a fortress from which he wielded immense influence. News headlines from his formative years in public service painted a picture of a man driven by an insatiable hunger for power, a figure who understood the intricate dance of political maneuvering and was unafraid to lead with an iron fist. He was, in essence, an architect of his own destiny, constructing a legacy built on legal challenges and an unwavering commitment to a base that saw him as their champion, regardless of the controversies that seemed to follow him like a shadow. This was not merely a career, it was a crusade, a relentless expansion of influence that would inevitably clash with those who sought to dismantle its very foundations. Yet, for all his outward displays of confidence and control, Paxton's career has been consistently marred by the dark clouds of legal peril. The initial tremors of his vulnerability began with the securities fraud indictment, a stark reminder that even the most powerful figures are not immune to the long arm of the law. These weren't mere whispers of impropriety, they were formal accusations, legal documents detailing alleged transgressions that struck at the very heart of his integrity. The complexities of legal jargon, often used to obscure rather than clarify, were stripped bare, revealing the stark reality of the charges against him. Public outcry, fueled by a growing sense of disillusionment, manifested in protests and fervent discussions, highlighting the deep unease many felt about a top law enforcement official facing such serious allegations. His tenure as Attorney General became a precarious tightrope walk, a constant negotiation between maintaining political power and fending off the relentless pursuit of justice. These were not minor infractions to be brushed aside, they were profound ethical challenges that cast a long, ominous shadow over his fitness for public office. Each new accusation, each fresh investigation, chipped away at the veneer of invincibility he had so carefully cultivated, revealing the cracks in his seemingly impenetrable armor. The legal labyrinth he navigated was not just a personal struggle, it was a public spectacle, a testament to the enduring tension between power and accountability. The most dramatic and public chapter in Paxton's legal saga unfolded with the impeachment proceedings, a battle for his political life that captivated the nation. The hallowed halls of the Texas Senate transformed into a theater of the absurd, where the very foundations of justice seemed to be on trial. Testimonies, often raw and emotional, laid bare the inner workings of his office, exposing alleged abuses of power and a culture of fear. The articles of impeachment, meticulously detailed, painted a damning portrait of a man who had, according to his accusers, betrayed the public trust. The political machinations behind the effort to remove him were as intricate as they were ruthless, a testament to the deep divisions within the Republican Party itself. The tension in the chamber was palpable, each witness, each argument, each cross-examination adding another layer to the unfolding drama. His eventual acquittal, while a victory for Paxton and his allies, was met with a collective sigh of disbelief by many, leaving a lingering sense of injustice. It solidified his image as a political survivor, a figure seemingly immune to the consequences that would fell lesser mortals. Yet, it also highlighted the profound partisan divides that often overshadow the pursuit of truth, demonstrating the lengths to which political power would be defended, even in the face of overwhelming evidence. The impeachment trial was not an end, but a stark punctuation mark, underscoring the enduring questions surrounding his conduct and the systemic challenges of holding powerful figures accountable. Beyond the personal legal battles, a more insidious accusation has consistently plagued Ken Paxton, the weaponization of his office. Critics, from civil rights advocates to political opponents, have vehemently argued that he has systematically used the immense power of the Attorney General's position to advance a partisan agenda, to suppress dissent, and to target those who dared to challenge his authority. His aggressive legal challenges against federal policies, particularly those aimed at protecting voting rights and ensuring equitable representation, have drawn widespread condemnation. Infographics, stark and undeniable, have illustrated the devastating impact of his policies on marginalized communities, revealing a pattern of actions designed to consolidate power and disenfranchise vulnerable populations. Testimonies from individuals and groups directly affected by his actions paint a chilling picture of a legal system twisted to serve political ends, rather than to uphold justice. His staunch stance on social issues, often bordering on the extreme, has made him a lightning rod for controversy, yet paradoxically, a hero to his unwavering base. This duality, this ability to simultaneously provoke outrage and inspire fervent loyalty, is a hallmark of his political persona. He is a figure who thrives in the crucible of conflict, using every legal and political tool at his disposal to expand his influence, regardless of the ethical cost. The allegations of abuse of power are not mere political rhetoric, they are a fundamental challenge to the very principles of democratic governance, raising profound questions about the integrity of the legal system when wielded by those who prioritize power over justice. Despite the relentless barrage of controversies, the indictments, and the very public spectacle of an impeachment trial, Ken Paxton has remained an unyielding, dominant force in Texas politics. His remarkable ability to not only survive but to thrive amidst such profound legal and political turmoil speaks volumes about his unique blend of political acumen, an almost uncanny resilience, and the unwavering, almost cult-like, support from his base. He is a master of political theater, capable of rallying his supporters with a fervor that defies logic, transforming every legal challenge into a perceived political persecution. His legal team, a formidable array of talent and resources, has consistently navigated the treacherous waters of the justice system, employing strategies that have, thus far, kept him from facing the full consequences of his alleged actions. He is, in many ways, a living embodiment of the profound political polarization that defines our contemporary landscape, a figure simultaneously reviled by his opponents and revered by his loyalists. He is a testament to the enduring power of political will, a man who has consistently defied expectations, emerging from each storm with his power seemingly intact. His story is a stark reminder that the pursuit of justice is often a long, arduous journey, fraught with obstacles and setbacks. He stands as a formidable antagonist, a seemingly unstoppable force, making Jasmine Crockett's eventual triumph not just a victory, but a monumental achievement against a deeply entrenched and resilient power. The stage is now set for the inevitable collision, a clash that will determine not just the fate of two individuals, but the very soul of justice in Texas. The congressional hearing room, usually a stage for measured discourse and procedural formality, transformed into a gladiatorial arena. Every seat was filled, every camera lens focused, every breath held in anticipation of the inevitable clash. The nameplates, stark and official, read Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett and Attorney General Ken Paxton, yet they felt less like identifiers and more like opposing banners in a looming war. The initial pleasantries, the perfunctory opening statements, served only to heighten the suspense, a deceptive calm before the storm. The air, thick with unspoken tension, crackled with the energy of two opposing forces about to collide. This was not merely a legislative session, it was a showdown, a public reckoning that would etch itself into the annals of political theater. The world watched, unknowingly, as the stage was meticulously set for a confrontation that would expose the raw nerves of power and principle, a battle destined to redefine the very essence of accountability. The formal setting, designed for order, was about to witness a profound disruption, a moment where the rules of engagement would be rewritten by the sheer force of will and intellect. Paxton, with a practiced ease born of years in the political spotlight, began his testimony. His voice, smooth and confident, filled the room, carrying an undertone of dismissive authority. He spoke of legal victories, of upholding the law, of protecting the interests of Texas, all while subtly weaving a narrative of his own invincibility. Crockett, ever the meticulous advocate, waited for her turn, her gaze unwavering, her mind already dissecting his every word. When her moment came, she leaned into the microphone, her question polite, yet surgically precise, aimed at the heart of his carefully constructed facade. But Paxton, a master of deflection, cut her off, his interruption swift and almost imperceptible, cloaked in the guise of procedural decorum. "Congresswoman," he interjected, a patronizing smile playing on his lips, "I believe I was still addressing the previous point. Let's maintain decorum." A flicker of annoyance crossed Crockett's face, quickly masked by a professional composure that spoke volumes of her discipline. She tried again, her voice steady. With all due respect, my question pertains directly to. He cut her off once more, a dismissive wave of his hand. I'll get to that in due course. Please allow me to finish. The first salvos had been fired, subtle yet deliberate, signaling the true nature of the battle to come. The audience, both in the room and watching from afar, felt the shift, the subtle tightening of the air, the unspoken challenge laid bare. This was not a debate, it was a power play, and Paxton was making his intentions clear. The subtle jabs quickly escalated into overt attacks, each interruption a deliberate attempt to assert dominance, to silence the inconvenient truth. Paxton's body language grew more aggressive, his voice sharper, his interruptions more frequent and less veiled. He wasn't just interrupting, he was attempting to derail, to invalidate, to silence. He was playing a dangerous game, pushing the boundaries of decorum with a brazenness that shocked many observers. Crockett's frustration, once carefully concealed, became more evident. Her voice, though still controlled, gained a subtle edge, her gestures more emphatic, mirroring the rising tension in the room. Other committee members, usually stoic, exchanged glances, subtle head shakes, raised eyebrows, acknowledging the unprecedented nature of Paxton's tactics. The air grew thick with unspoken outrage, a collective recognition of the bullying unfolding before their eyes. Yet, Crockett, a woman forged in the fires of adversity, was not one to be easily intimidated. Her resolve, far from crumbling, hardened with each dismissive remark, each condescending cut-off. She was absorbing the blows, internalizing the disrespect, and transforming it into a quiet, burning determination. The audience, now fully invested, leaned forward, sensing the inevitable explosion, the moment when the pressure would become too great to contain. The drama was building, each interruption a hammer blow against her patience, forging a weapon she was about to unleash. Are you suggesting, Mr. Attorney General, that the legal precedent set in Roe v. Wade is irrelevant to this discussion? Crockett pressed, her voice a steel thread. Paxton, with a loud, dismissive scoff, cut her off. Congresswoman, we are not here to debate settled law. Stick to the facts at hand. His tone dripped with contempt, a clear attempt to belittle her. Crockett's eyes flashed, but her voice remained steady. The facts at hand are the law, Mr. Attorney General. And your interpretation is. Before she could finish, he interrupted sharply, I've heard enough of your theatrics, Congresswoman. Next question. The room held its breath. 9 times. 9 times he tried to shut her down, to assert his dominance, to silence the voice of dissent. Each interruption was a calculated move, a psychological assault designed to break her spirit, to force her into submission. But with each attempt, he wasn't diminishing her, he was empowering her. He was pushing her to a precipice, forcing her to unleash the full force of her legal intellect, a weapon he had gravely underestimated. The tension was unbearable, a palpable force that seemed to vibrate through the very walls of the hearing room. Everyone watched, mesmerized, as the drama unfolded, a silent plea for justice hanging in the air. The bully, emboldened by his perceived victory, leaned back, a smug satisfaction on his face, unaware that he had just signed his own public execution order. The stage was set for the final, decisive blow. A brief, pregnant pause descended upon the room, a silence so profound it seemed to absorb all sound. Paxton, momentarily satisfied with his perceived victory, leaned back, a triumphant smirk playing on his lips. He believed he had won. He believed he had silenced her. But he had only given her the space she needed, the crucial breath before the storm. Crockett, her eyes locked onto Paxton's, took a slow, deliberate breath. The anger, the frustration, the simmering indignation that had been building with each interruption, now coalesced into a fierce, unwavering determination. The camera, a silent observer, slowly zoomed in on her face, her features filling the screen, the background blurring into insignificance. Her focus was singular, absolute. The air crackled with anticipation, a collective gasp held captive in the throats of those watching. This was the moment. This was the turning point. She leaned into the microphone, her voice, now calm and deliberate, yet imbued with an undeniable steel, cut through the silence like a finely honed blade. "Mr. Attorney General," she began, her words resonating with an authority that commanded attention, "you seem to have forgotten a fundamental principle of law, one that even a first-year law student understands. And that, sir, is the principle of stare decisis." The words hung in the air, a legal declaration, a challenge, a promise. The smirk vanished from Paxton's face, replaced by a look of stunned disbelief, a dawning realization of the trap he had walked into. The room, once filled with his bluster, was now silent, save for the echo of her words, a testament to the power of truth and the unwavering spirit of a woman who refused to be silenced. The battle was far from over, but the tide had irrevocably turned. The arena, once his domain, was now hers, and the echoes of her citation would reverberate far beyond its walls, a testament to the enduring power of justice. The next chapter was about to begin, and it would be written by the victor. The air in the hearing room, once thick with Paxton's bluster and condescension, was now heavy with the undeniable force of truth, a silence so profound it seemed to absorb all sound. Jasmine Crockett's final, precise legal citation wasn't merely a point of law, it was a strategic masterstroke, a perfectly aimed arrow that found its mark with devastating accuracy. The camera, a silent witness, lingered on Ken Paxton's face, capturing the subtle yet seismic shift in his expression, the arrogant smirk dissolving into a mask of stunned disbelief, a flicker of anger, then perhaps a fleeting shadow of embarrassment. It was a public unraveling, a moment of profound humiliation for a man accustomed to dominating every room he entered. Across the aisle, the other committee members, usually impassive, showed their own subtle reactions, a quiet nod of approval, a barely perceptible smile, a collective sigh of relief. The silence that followed Crockett's words was not empty, it was pregnant with meaning, a testament to the sheer weight of her intellectual triumph. Paxton, for perhaps the first time in a long time, was truly silenced, his usual bluster rendered impotent by the undeniable power of legal truth. This wasn't just a verbal exchange, it was a symbolic dethroning, a public stripping away of his carefully constructed facade of invincibility. The hero had delivered her blow, and the villain, for a fleeting moment, stood exposed, vulnerable, and utterly defeated. In the hyper-connected world of instant information, a moment of truth, a flash of undeniable justice, can become a global phenomenon in mere seconds. The video of Crockett's confrontation with Paxton didn't just go viral, it exploded across every digital platform, a wildfire of validation and inspiration. Social media feeds were inundated with clips, memes, and impassioned discussions, all centered on Crockett's decisive moment. Tweets, posts, and news headlines screamed her praises, celebrating her courage and intellect. Graphs showing the exponential rise in views, shares, and discussions painted a vivid picture of a collective awakening, a moment when millions felt seen, heard, and empowered. News anchors and political pundits, initially scrambling to understand the magnitude of the event, found themselves replaying the clip, analyzing every word, every gesture, every nuance of Crockett's triumph. Some, predictably, attempted to downplay its significance, to frame it as mere political theater, but their voices were drowned out by the roar of a public hungry for authentic leadership. This wasn't just about politics, it was about seeing someone stand up to a bully, to a system that often felt rigged against the common person. Everyone, at some point, has felt the sting of dismissiveness, the frustration of being unheard, the indignity of being interrupted. To see Jasmine Crockett, a woman of color, a representative of the marginalized, do it with such grace, such intelligence, and such undeniable power, was incredibly empowering. It gave people hope, a tangible example that courage, when coupled with knowledge, could indeed cut through the noise and expose the hollowness of bluster. It was a moment of collective catharsis, a shared victory against the forces of arrogance and oppression, a rallying cry for those who had long yearned for justice. While the immediate impact for Ken Paxton was public humiliation, the long-term ramifications were far more profound, casting a deeper shadow over an already controversial career. The incident reignited conversations about his ethical conduct, his ongoing legal battles, and the perceived weaponization of his office. The spotlight, once again, intensified on his past transgressions, his securities fraud indictment, and the lingering questions surrounding his impeachment. Legal experts, dissecting Crockett's citation, discussed its implications for Paxton's standing, his credibility in future cases, and the potential for renewed scrutiny from federal investigators. Political cartoons and satirical sketches, sharp and unforgiving, mocked his public defeat, further eroding his carefully cultivated image of invincibility. The incident added another layer of scrutiny to his already tarnished reputation, making it harder for him to dismiss his critics as mere partisan hacks. It was a strategic blow to his credibility, a public indictment that resonated far beyond the confines of the hearing room. The narrative shifted, and Paxton, once seen as an untouchable political titan, now appeared vulnerable, his empire of power showing visible cracks. The legal and political ramifications were not just theoretical, they were tangible, manifesting in increased pressure from oversight committees, renewed calls for investigations, and a palpable shift in public perception. The aftershock of Crockett's triumph was a tremor that threatened to destabilize the very foundations of his power, a testament to the enduring power of truth in the face of entrenched corruption. For Jasmine Crockett, the confrontation was nothing short of a defining moment, a crucible that forged her into a national figure. It cemented her reputation as a fearless advocate, a sharp legal mind, and a powerful voice for change, not just for her constituents, but for all who felt marginalized. She transcended her role as a congresswoman, becoming a symbol of hope and resilience for countless individuals who yearned for justice and accountability in their leaders. Her appearances on national news programs were no longer just about policy, they were about inspiration, her voice confident and articulate, her message resonating with a growing chorus of supporters. Images of her speaking at rallies, her words echoing with conviction, spread like wildfire, inspiring new generations to engage with the political process, to demand more from their representatives. The incident fueled increased support and fundraising for her political endeavors, transforming her into a formidable force in the national political landscape. She became a beacon, a testament to the idea that even in the most intimidating environments, truth can prevail, and that courage, when coupled with intellect, can indeed dismantle the most formidable of bullies. Her stature grew exponentially, not just as a politician, but as a moral compass, guiding those who sought a more just and equitable society. She was no longer just a representative, she was a champion, a hero in the truest sense, whose actions had sparked a fire of hope in the hearts of millions. The impact of the Ken Paxton-Jasmine Crockett confrontation extended far beyond the confines of that hearing room, rippling outwards to influence the broader discourse on justice, accountability, and the role of legal literacy in a democratic society. It became a compelling case study in effective advocacy, a powerful reminder of the importance of legal knowledge as a tool for social change. Discussions about the incident permeated academic settings, legal forums, and public debates, serving as a real-world example of how precise legal arguments can cut through political noise and expose hypocrisy. It encouraged a more informed and engaged public discourse, reminding everyone that facts, and the law, still matter, even in an era often dominated by misinformation and emotional appeals. Examples of how the confrontation inspired others to speak out against injustice, to engage more actively in political discourse, and to demand accountability from their leaders became increasingly prevalent. It was a powerful testament to the idea that one moment, one act of courage, can spark a larger movement, a collective awakening to the power of truth. The ripple effect was undeniable, a growing wave of civic engagement and a renewed commitment to the principles of justice and fairness. The confrontation served as a stark reminder that the fight for justice is ongoing, a continuous struggle that requires vigilance, knowledge, and unwavering courage. It left an indelible mark, a powerful legacy that continues to inspire and empower, setting the stage for a future where accountability is not just a hope, but an expectation, and where the voices of the marginalized can finally be heard, loud and clear, demanding justice. The clash between Jasmine Crockett and Ken Paxton was more than just a viral video, more than a fleeting moment of political theater. It was a seismic event that sent profound ripples through the legal and political landscape, a tremor that continues to resonate with an enduring impact. Its echoes reverberate through the halls of justice, in the classrooms where civics are taught, and in the quiet conversations of everyday citizens. This wasn't a fleeting victory, a mere blip on the radar of political news cycles, it was a foundational one, laying bare the vulnerabilities of unchecked power and illuminating a clear, undeniable path for those who dare to challenge it. We see its influence in the burgeoning confidence of young activists, in the renewed vigor of legal scholars, and in the quiet determination of individuals who, inspired by Crockett's example, now stand a little taller, speak a little louder. It's a testament to the idea that moments of courage, when fortified by knowledge and conviction, can ignite movements and fundamentally reshape narratives. The image of a single legal text, once perhaps seen as dry and inaccessible, now gleams with a newfound significance, a symbol of the power inherent in understanding the very rules that govern our society. News clips, months and even years after the incident, continue to reference the Crockett-Paxton confrontation as a pivotal moment, a watershed event that redefined the boundaries of acceptable political discourse. It's a living legacy, a constant reminder that the fight for justice is not a sprint, but a marathon, and that every act of defiance, every assertion of truth, contributes to the grand tapestry of progress. This enduring impact is not merely a historical footnote, it is a vibrant, living force, shaping the present and guiding the future, a testament to the transformative power of one woman's unwavering resolve. Jasmine Crockett's triumph was, at its core, a profound testament to the indispensable power of legal literacy. In an era often dominated by the cacophony of soundbites, the seductive allure of emotional appeals, and the deliberate obfuscation of facts, her ability to wield precise legal citations cut through the noise like a finely honed blade. It exposed the hollowness of bluster, the fragility of intimidation, and the ultimate impotence of arrogance when confronted with undeniable truth. Her actions underscored a critical, often overlooked, truth, that a deep, nuanced understanding of the law is not merely an academic pursuit confined to dusty libraries and elite institutions. No, it is a vital shield, a bulwark against the encroaching tides of tyranny, and simultaneously, a potent sword, capable of carving out justice in even the most entrenched systems. It is the very language of power, and to speak it fluently is to reclaim agency, to assert one's rightful place in the ongoing dialogue of democracy. Legal aid attorneys, often toiling in obscurity, now find a renewed sense of purpose, their work illuminated by the spotlight Crockett cast on the importance of accessible legal knowledge. They echo her sentiment, reminding us that the law, when understood and applied correctly, can be the great equalizer, a tool for empowerment in the hands of the people. It is a clarion call to arms for every citizen to educate themselves, to meticulously know their rights, and to intimately understand the intricate legal frameworks that govern their lives. This isn't about becoming a lawyer, it's about becoming an informed, engaged participant in the democratic process, capable of discerning truth from manipulation, and holding power accountable. The power of legal literacy is not just about winning arguments, it's about winning freedom, about ensuring that the scales of justice are not merely symbolic, but a lived reality for all. It is the foundation upon which a truly equitable society can be built, brick by painstaking brick, argument by undeniable argument. The confrontation also served as a stark, undeniable reminder that holding power accountable is not a singular event, a triumphant moment to be celebrated and then forgotten. No, it is a continuous, vigilant, and often arduous struggle, a perpetual motion machine that demands unwavering dedication. Ken Paxton's remarkable resilience in the face of numerous, serious allegations highlights the systemic challenges inherent in ensuring that those in authority operate consistently within the prescribed bounds of the law and ethical conduct. His ability to evade consequences, to deflect scrutiny, underscores the deep-seated flaws within systems that often protect the powerful at the expense of justice. Crockett's stand was indeed a victory, a moment of profound triumph, but it was also, crucially, a beacon, illuminating the ongoing, relentless need for active citizenship and unwavering oversight. It is a call to arms for every individual to become a sentinel of democracy, to remain ever watchful, ever questioning, ever demanding. We cannot afford complacency, for the forces that seek to undermine justice are relentless and cunning. The activist, whose voice often goes unheard in the din of political rhetoric, finds renewed purpose in this narrative, understanding that the fight is far from over. They remind us that even when the facts are undeniably on our side, those in power will often resort to every tactic imaginable to silence dissent, to maintain their grip. It is therefore incumbent upon us, the people, to keep pushing, to keep demanding transparency, to keep shining a light into the darkest corners of power, and to never, ever stop fighting for a truly just society. This continuous struggle is the price of liberty, the eternal vigilance required to safeguard the very principles upon which a fair and equitable society is built. It is a legacy of resistance, a testament to the enduring human spirit that refuses to bend, refuses to break, and refuses to be silenced. The story of Ken Paxton and Jasmine Crockett is not merely a political skirmish, it is a modern epic, a dramatic narrative that transcends the narrow confines of a single hearing room and resonates with universal themes of courage, conflict, and the relentless pursuit of truth. It is a compelling drama that encapsulates larger truths about the human spirit, about the enduring struggle between right and wrong, between arrogance and integrity. It has all the elements of a classic narrative, a clear conflict, deeply drawn characters, suspenseful turns that keep us on the edge of our seats, and ultimately, a profound emotional payoff that leaves us feeling empowered and inspired. It is a testament to the idea that even in the darkest moments, a single spark of courage, a single act of defiance, can ignite a flame of hope that illuminates the path forward. The filmmaker, the storyteller, recognizes in this narrative a profound resonance, a moment that captures the essence of human struggle and triumph. It is a story that demanded to be told, a narrative that will continue to inspire generations to come, reminding us that the power of one individual, armed with truth and conviction, can indeed shift the tectonic plates of power. It is a narrative that speaks to the very core of our being, reminding us of our own capacity for courage, for resilience, for standing up against overwhelming odds. This cinematic arc, from the initial spark of conflict to the ultimate triumph of principle, is a powerful reminder that even in the most polarized and cynical of times, the human spirit, when fueled by justice, can achieve the extraordinary. It is a story that will be retold, re-examined, and reinterpreted, each time revealing new layers of meaning, new depths of inspiration, solidifying its place as a timeless tale of hero versus villain, where the hero, armed with intellect and integrity, ultimately prevails. This story, however, is not just about Jasmine Crockett, it is, fundamentally, about all of us. It is a powerful, undeniable reminder that our voices matter, that our collective knowledge is an unassailable source of power, and that our unified action can, and indeed must, shape the very course of justice. We cannot afford to be passive observers in the grand drama of democracy. We cannot allow the complexities of the legal system, or the insidious intimidation tactics of those who cling to power, to deter us from our sacred duty as citizens. This is a call to action, a rallying cry for every individual to become an active participant in the ongoing fight for a more just and equitable world. Educate yourself, delve into the nuances of the law, understand the mechanisms of power. Engage with your communities, build bridges, foster dialogue, and amplify the voices of the marginalized. Demand accountability from your leaders, hold their feet to the fire, and never settle for anything less than true justice. Be the 10th citation in your own life, the one that cuts through the noise, that exposes the hypocrisy, that shuts down injustice with the undeniable force of truth. Be the one who opens the door to a future where equity is not just an aspiration, but a lived reality for all. The fight for justice is ongoing, a continuous journey that requires unwavering commitment and collective action. Be informed, for knowledge is power. Be involved, for your participation is essential. Be the change, for the future of justice rests in your hands. This is your moment. This is our moment. Let the echoes of Jasmine Crockett's courage inspire you to action, to become a force for good, to ensure that the principles of justice and equality are not just ideals, but the very foundation of our society. The narrative continues, and you, the audience, are now the authors of its next chapter. Step forward, for the world awaits your voice, your courage, your unwavering commitment to a better tomorrow. The legacy is yours to build, the inspiration yours to embody, the call to action yours to answer. The time is now. The future is waiting. The fight for justice, for truth, for equity, continues, and it needs you. Embrace your power, for in your hands lies the potential to shape a world where every voice is heard, every right is protected, and every individual can thrive. This is not merely a story, it is a blueprint for action, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit when united in the pursuit of justice. Join the movement. Be the change. The world is watching, and waiting.